Welcome to another edition of the Muscle News. Today I want to talk about something that Dennis James mentioned on his podcast with John De La Rosa, Milo Sarcev, and Chris Cormier. All I can say is wow. Okay. About the pro cards handed out at the NPC USA Championships. Okay. Now, let me first play, before I start getting into this rant, let me first play what Dennis had to say. All right. Now, this is Dennis James saying it. Okay. It's not me or it's not anybody else. These guys are loyal to the NPC in the IFBB Pro League of Jim Mannion. So it's very interesting that they're saying this. So here we go.
So many pro cards at the USA's, right? But I just thought that the top two in those classes, in the bodybuilding classes anyway, I thought that was getting better. So before it'd be like one guy looked good and the rest is trash. Also, how many pro cards did they give?
Here we go.
Too many. Yeah, one is the. Hold on 1 second. Let me say this real quick because I just saw something that there was supposed to be four classes for women physique, and they had 12 competitors total.
Yep.
Gave out 7 pro cards.
Boom.
No.
Yeah.
How?
7 out of 12 got the pro card. Might as well give out everybody.
There you go.
I mean,
Milos.
So that means someone's gonna not be that good and they have a pro card.
Oh, Chris.
That's unfortunately what can happen when it's at a show. See, that's a good thing about the NPC Worldwide. They changed that. That's not what happens. If you
Really?
are in a show, I mean, come on, 12 competitors in 4 classes. What the first thing I've done is
All they can do is laugh.
Merge it down to 2 classes and have each. And then have overall, and to get the overall the card.
Yeah.
That would be the way this would work in Europe or with the NPC Worldwide. We do not. If you don't have 5 competitors in your class, you're not even getting a pro card. And I think unless you can petition, if you're that great, you petition, you send you will not be awarded a pro card that night. You petition. Go through that. The head judge has to petition. Review it. Not good enough, and then have to send the pictures in, and then they decide if you're good or not. But unless it's 5 in each class, there's no pro card awarded. And this is in the rules. So I guess I don't know if this is just here in the USA, because I think they give out I don't know how many pro cards. It's just too much.
I don't know.
Over
1,000 a year, 1,300 a year.
People get pro cards.
Yeah, they don't deserve them.
There you go.
Really bad. Not that they don't deserve them. It's just that they're getting on stage and they're never gonna be
not at that time.
competitor. Yeah, they're not a
Oh, that's a good one, Chris. That's coming back at you.
John, the thing is this. I know it sounds bad, but I'm not talking about the people that deserve the pro card and they want and compete as the pro card.
Yeah, of course.
People, the ones that I say they don't deserve it are the ones that just use their pro card to change their status
on Instagram.
Offer coaching as an IFBB Pro.
Yeah.
Never ever compete as a pro. They don't even get a pro stage because they know they have no business being on there. That's what I don't like.
I agree.
Situation and so, but unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And that was just something I saw, and I was like, damn, 7 pro cards, 12 competitors total. You have a pretty good shot at turning pro. Go to Vegas. Yeah. Hey, man, I was going to mention it.
So, you heard it. 12 competitors, 4 divisions, 7 pro cards. Now, if you don't believe me, okay, let me share the page of NPC News Online. All right, here we go. So, the other divisions, men's bodybuilding, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pro cards handed out. Figure awards, more. Bikini, a ton. Probably men's physique. But let's say there's a lot of competitors. Let's keep going down here. Where the hell are they? Men's physique. Okay. Women's physique. Here we go. So pro cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. These are the competitors. 4 in class A, 4 in class B, 3 in class C, and 1 in class D. The girl in class D, let me just make sure she didn't compete anywhere else. She got a pro card competing against herself. I guess it's true. You win, you're in, you know? So that's not the only thing. Let's go to take it a bit further. Let me see where it is. Women's bodybuilding. 2 pro cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 competitors. The lightweight competitor didn't get a pro card. Okay. The light heavyweight got a pro card. And then there was the overall champion from the heavyweight division. Okay. Because she won and she got the overall title. All right. So this is going to be a bit, it's going to be a funny rant. All right. Because I want to make myself clear. Now, I used to own another website, all right? And when the website first started off was way back in 2013, everything was fine. There was no split. Everybody was friendly, and then the famous split came up. And just to give you a bit of a backstory before I go on with my rant. And I received messages from the NPC side, Jim Mannion side, not from Jim Mannion, but from people that are very close to him. I'm not going to mention them. Either you're with us or you're not. You cannot support any other federation. And I was like, I live in Europe. I was brought up in Canada, so it's not like I'm from behind the mountains or anything. I was like, you're forcing me to support you only. Why? So, and I was very good friends with the IFBB, the real IFBB, the IFBB that Ben Weider created, okay, and Joe Weider, and the IFBB that Dr. Rafael Santonia is the president till today. That worked side by side with Joe and Ben Weider, okay? It's still going strong. Hundreds of countries are affiliated. Jim Mannion was once affiliated as well on the American side, but he decided to leave in 2018, and he took the Pro League with him. Fine, okay. And he has the Olympian, whatever. So now, I said, I'm not going to let you tell me what to do. And I remained, friends, because friends, no federation is going to tell me not to be friends with somebody. I stayed friends with, Dr. Rafael Santonia and his team and, all the representatives all over the world affiliated with the IFBB. And then back then he created the Elite Pro, and then now it's called the IFBB Pro as well, because they both have rights to use that name, which, there's still more into that. So I started finding out certain things, and people from the NPC side, I can say it now, I'm not hiding behind, I'm not living in a basement, I'm not hiding behind, a computer like they always told me and just writing away and I'm scared. I used to go to competitions, nobody told me anything, people could have came and saw me, in Europe and told me otherwise. So people from the NPC side started revealing things to me and sending me documents and things like that. So I started to reveal things about, the NPC and certain corrupt things and things that weren't right and stuff like that. Fast forward till now, 2025. I sold the website, not because I was forced out or anything like that. It's just I believe personally things changed. I didn't want to invest in it anymore. And I decided to invest my energy in YouTube because I find it a bit more fun, relaxing, and I could meet people more, face to face and personal. So my argument was in the past, and even the NPC, okay, after the split, all right, when they were about to split, they started throwing mud at the IFBB of Dr. Rafael Santonia, all right, that they don't let competitors turn pro when they win the overall of a national event. And I used to say, I checked, I was like, why? If they won, they deserve to win. Okay, let's leave it there. Then they came out with you win, you're in. So, if you made it to the stage, and you might not be pro quality, you still get a pro card, okay? An IFBB Pro card. And then this athlete, you don't see him anywhere. All you do is see a change in their Instagram page, okay? Now, these women that were in the women's physique, and there were 12 women and 7 pro cards, okay? I'm not saying they're bad or anything like that. I went through the photos, and I don't see them getting on a pro stage anytime soon, all right? The pro card is just handed out, you know, it's just a piece of paper saying you're a pro. Now, what happens afterwards is a totally different story, all right? So if you see my interviews with Lee Haney and Rich Gaspari on my channel, you will see and hear them say back then you would have to, you know, become a national champion, go to the IFBB World Championships, in brackets, Mr. Universe, all right, and win the overall, one person, and that person only gets a pro card from hundreds of athletes, okay? I'm not saying the IFBB don't hand out many pro cards as well, but all I'm saying is I used to get flack because the NPC side used to tell me, we hand out pro cards, you compete, you're in, you win, you're in, all right? So that's why I'm laughing now, because Dennis James, Milos, Chris Cormier. So let me tell you how it is with the IFBB, how it used to be, I mean, and it still is. An athlete wins a pro card, okay? Now, if you notice, the majority of athletes that win pro cards with the IFBB on the side of Europe, okay? Let's say the IFBB of Rafael is the side of Europe, all right? You might win a pro card, okay? But the president of the federation, all right, could be Italy, it could be Spain, it could be, you know, Canada, it could be Australia, anywhere in the world, they'll tell you, listen, to prove that you're pro card worthy, all right, let's see how you do, either at the European Championships, where there will be thousands of athletes, or at the World Championships, okay? The original IFBB World Championships, in brackets, IFBB Mr. Universe, okay? Let's see how you do there. If you place in the top 3 overall, or let's say the first top 3 in your class, which will there'll be maybe 20 or 30 of the best amateurs in the world from every country, all right? We'll give you your pro card. It's up to you. Now, I know many athletes that have won their pro cards even before the split. Fantastic athletes, fantastic physiques, all right? But they remained amateur because they know, you know, they might be 90, 100 kilos, all right? For them to step on a pro stage with athletes that are much bigger than them, all right? And, you know, maybe they didn't want to go that extra mile. They remained amateurs and had fantastic careers as amateur athletes. And they still, you know, train athletes and things like that because they are established veterans in the sport. They just didn't turn pro. All right. Now, when I used to say that, the guys from the NPC used to laugh. Oh, you're keeping pro cards away from people and all this stuff. You're forcing athletes to pay to get their pro cards and all this stuff. All right. I kept telling him, bring me proof, show me proof, and nobody showed me proof that these athletes paid money to get their pro cards. All right. There's one athlete that I would like to use an example. I have nothing against him. I think he's one of the best bodybuilders in recent times. He has been away from the stage for a while due to personal reasons. I'm talking about Kamal El-Garni. I want to use an example of him to show, I mean, this guy had one of the best physiques in the world, and he still found it difficult back in the day. All right. Now, Kamal won the 212 Olympia in, first he won the Arnold Classic, all right, 212 event in 2018. Okay. Then they stopped it afterwards for some reason. There was a bit of commotion. I think there was there were certain things happening, you know, behind the scenes. I don't know if I don't want to get into that with the Arnold Classic. And then in 2019, he won the 212 version of the Olympia. Okay. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, he won the Masters Olympia Championship as well. So Kamal won it all. I mean, let me share this with you just to show what a good bodybuilder Kamal is. All right. Here we go. So, Kamal, 2001, look how long ago, 24 years ago. Naba, short class, first place. European Championships, Naba, overall. European Championships, Naba, short. Obviously, he won his division, okay? World Championships, Naba, overall winner. Then he moved over to the IFBB in 2003. Asian Amateur Champion, middleweight, first. And I'm telling you, back then the level was incredible, all right? Night of Champions, he turned pro. Now, what I want to say about Kamal is, before he switched to the NPC after the split, he said he was never awarded a pro card, okay? It's not true. He competed at the Night of Champions and he did not place. If we click on the Night of Champions, there were 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. 41 competitors. All right. 41 competitors. Gustavo Badel didn't place. All right. Kamal didn't place. Who else? Jean-Pierre Fouche didn't place. Look at the level that there was. All right. First place went to Victor Martinez. All right. And all the way down to 20th. So the 2003 Night of Champions, Kamal competed as a pro. All right. What happened? He was one of the best amateurs in the world, and he still did nothing with a pro card. Imagine the guys today that are thrown pro cards. Okay. Then what happened? Kamal went back to be an amateur, right? So World Amateur Championships, he was disqualified. I don't want to get into that. Okay. 2004 Asian Amateur Championships, first place in his division, in his middleweight. 2005 Asian Amateur Championships, first. World Amateur Championships, World Amateur Championships, IFBB, first. World Games, first. Asian Games, IFBB, first. World Amateur Championships, again, first. Asian Amateur Championships in 2007, first. And then in 2007, he competed with the NPC, the Excalibur, all right, light heavyweight, first. 2008, World Amateur Championships, first again. 2009, Arnold Amateur, light heavyweight, first. World Amateur Championships, he placed fourth. World Games, heavyweight, second. Now, Kamal started going up in weight, so he started finding, more competition in the amateurs. And then 2011, Asian Championships, overall winner with the ABBF. Asian Championships, ABBF, light heavyweight. He switched divisions. He switched federation, sorry. World Championships, WBPF. That was a breakaway, another federation with some guys that broke away from the IFBB. World Championships, light heavyweight, first. Okay? He went back to the IFBB in 2013, all right? The IFBB of Europe, all right, of Rafael. Asian Amateur Championships, classic, the classic division, second. Asian Amateur Championships, IFBB heavyweight, first. Asian Amateur Championships, IFBB Masters 40 plus, second. Asian Championships, ABBF, overall. Asian Championships, ABBF, light heavyweight. Mediterranean Amateur Championships with the IFBB, overall winner again. He kept winning. The guy kept winning. And then after this, he disappeared for 5 years, saying that he was suspended and all these things. And he switched over to the NPC. But the argument is what I wrote about, and I got a lot of flack saying I'm lying, and I'm not lying because it's here. Okay. In 2003, Kamal was given his pro card. Now, if I'm mistaken or anything like that, please write to me, themusclenews@gmail.com, and explain to me what happened, because I would love to know how he got his pro card and he went back to amateur. I mean, instead of fighting and trying, the guy, and allegedly, according to Generation Iron, I'm going to read the article. Before earning his pro card in 2018, Kamal El Garni received an invite to compete at the 2003 Night of Champions, which is now the New York Pro, by Wayne the Media, who was the Mr. Olympia promoter between 1984 and 2003. The Lion of Libya had qualified for the show by winning the IFBB Amateur UK. Unfortunately, Kamal failed to make a statement at the contest, taking home the 21st spot out of 41 competitors, as I mentioned before. I made a mistake saying he played dead last, but anything under 20 was last. Upon the 21st placing, Kamal had told his peers that this would be his first and last show. Shockingly, he had competed at the 2003 Night of Champions in the open division, weighing only 75 kilograms, which is 165 pounds. So you can imagine the size difference, Kamal going in there as this short, small bodybuilder, competing against, the rest of the guys. At that time, there was no 2-on-2 division in the IFBB. This led the Lion of Libya to feel that he could not compete with mass monsters such as the winner Victor Martinez, who had won the 2003 Night of Champions. Now, Kamal went back to the amateurs. Again, I don't know about this rule, but maybe because it was an invite, he was allowed to go back to the amateurs and try to win his pro card again. Kamal Garni's return to the amateur division lined perfectly with the opportunity to represent Attar in the 2003 Asian Olympics, which he seized. Many people wonder why Kamal had chosen to remain an amateur bodybuilder rather than compete at pro level. However, if you understand the reality of things revolving around this sport, his career was rewarded financially in big ways. According to Kamal, the Atari government would pay a bodybuilder $150,000 for winning a world championship. Kamal did this a total of 16 times, which if you add it up, it's a lot of money, all right? It's a lot of money. So Kamal was a very rich man as an amateur. As I said before, he made more money, he made more money than any Olympia athlete at that time. So he was one of the richest bodybuilders in the world as an amateur. Obviously, there was the split, and at that time he was suspended from the IFBB for some reasons, and he used that to get into the NPC as a pro. He was awarded his pro card when there was a switch. He didn't have to compete to earn his pro card. His resume explains everything, so something happened behind the scenes that, if somebody knows what happened behind the scenes, the story, I have my facts, I have the documents, but if somebody knows, they can write me an email to themusclenews@gmail.com to find out why he was suspended, maybe his side of the story, all right? Getting back to the NPC and the IFBB, I see nothing wrong with a president giving advice to an athlete and telling them, listen, you're not ready for a pro card, even though you placed first. The lineup wasn't deep enough, it wasn't at that level. And even though you won, we're going to put it on hold for now. You still have to prove yourself with, a better lineup. Now, Dennis is saying that the athlete can write a letter, and, make an argument if they don't award him a pro card, if there's not more than 5 competitors, all right? Now, what I find funny is, these guys are saying almost the same thing that I used to argue about for the past, since 2018, a bit before 2015, all the way, or for the past 10 years, all right? Now these guys are noticing all of a sudden that the majority, 95% of the pro card winners are not pro card worthy, all right? Many podcasts say it, Bob Ciccarello, Sean Ray, I'm going to mention them, Dennis, now Milos, John De La Rosa, Chris Cormier, who knows how many other, pundits that are, loyal to the NPC and Jim Mannion. What I find funny is these guys are saying these things and, it's like, they're biting the hand that feeds them, Mannion or the NPC never put food on my table, I'm independent, I can't say what I want, all right? I'm not saying the IFBB is perfect in Europe, all right? There are mistakes, there are problems, like every other federation. But just because they do something and they get mud thrown at them, when in the long run, it's better for the athlete, okay? Now the guys at the NPC and the Pro League are noticing that with all these competitors and all these pro cards being handed out, these pros are not stepping on stage. It's the same 10 guys or 12 guys, and you get that one that steps on stage, and if we're lucky, he'll have a career or she'll have a career. Many of them step on stage for the first year and disappear. Many of them say, I'm going to train for 2 years at some size and come back in 2 years. You don't see them anymore because, life, gets involved, married, life in general. All right. I don't blame them. But this win and you're in attitude has to stop. Okay. This thing of 7 pro cards and 12 athletes is a joke, is a total joke. And I started really laughing when I watched that. I watch all the podcasts, all right? And, many guys say really good things, but it's like they stay on the borderline just so they don't get in trouble. But I really want to commend Dennis for bringing this up. I admire him because Dennis just comes out and says it, even Milos, it's wrong. It's wrong. You cannot give 7 pro cards to 12 athletes. All right. You can't in the same division. All right. I mean, come on, the men's physique and things like that. There might be 40 or 50 athletes, 10 pro cards. All right. First, second, probably got a pro card or whatever. And why? Even that. I don't agree with it across the line. Second place should not get a pro card. Second place should not get a pro card. First, the second guy lost. The guy in second lost. He or she doesn't deserve a pro card. You want to win your pro card? You have to be the best. All right. What would these athletes do if it was like in the time of Labrada, Rich Kaspari, 1 or 2 pro cards a year? 1 or 2 pro cards a year. That's why all the competitors were at their best when they stepped on stage, because they had to work their way up. You have a guy like Bob Chikurla, I can't remember how many times he had to fight to win his pro card, 10, 12, 13 times. He finally won his pro card. By the time he won his pro card, I mean, he competed at the Olympia Night of Champions, and I think he won the World Masters Championship back then. I forget the exact name, all right? But, the guy spent the majority of his career trying to win the pro card. Dave Palumbo, always just missing, he might place first in his division, but then lose out in the overall. Okay. Today, Dave Palumbo would have been a pro for the past 10 years. All right. So many guys lost their chance to become a pro in the early 80s, all right, and 90s. Now all of a sudden, if you play your cards right, there are 3 or 4 competitors in a division. You have a 50% chance of winning your pro card. Okay, all right, you want your pro card, you get that pro card, the nice red pro card with your name, with everybody, Tony Blynn's name and Jim Mannion's name and all this stuff, all right? But are you going to use this pro card? As Bob Ciccarello says, you're not a pro until you step on a pro stage. You're not a pro until you step on the pro stage. Okay, all this, IFBB Pro or all this stuff on Instagram and things like that. No, step on the pro stage. Compete in Toronto, compete in Vancouver, compete in Europe. Try. Why don't they try? Because they know they are going to finish dead last unless they are free. All right. It's very difficult. All right. You have guys like, Crizio. He came from the one federation and went to the other. A freak. Okay. A freak. I have been preaching about him way before he went to the NPC. All right. I thought he would do better than he did. He's still doing well, all right? He won the Prague show and all this thing. But what did he took another year off. He's not going to, I think he's coming back for the Prague contest now at the end of the year to try to qualify for 2026. Look, these guys are the elite of the elite, all right? You just don't hand pro cards out to guys or girls and make these fake dreams, all right? It can't be, we cannot go on any longer like this. But I am happy today because that podcast of Dennis James and his gang agreeing to what I used to say way back is just a bit modified, I see nothing wrong with the president of a federation in each country, sitting down with the athlete and telling them, listen, if you go to this contest as a pro, you're not even going to make it out for the, dead last. All right. What's the use? So prove yourself. All right. Go to a high level amateur contest, European championships, the world championships or whatever else the NPC has, the national championships. Prove yourself. If you win in a deep lineup, you'll get your pro card. All right. It's ridiculous the way things are going. It's getting out of control. All these pro cards, all right? All these pro cards. It's incredible, It's like handing out pro cards just, to make athletes happy, It's this thing, everybody's equal or, nobody loses. What do you mean nobody loses? If you're not good, you don't make it. That's life, all right? If it was like, if they're going to keep going like this, the lineup for the Mr. Olympia is going to have 120 competitors. But what happens? What happens? They get their pro cards as an amateur, they go to a contest, they place 11th, 12th out of 13, and that's it. They say, I'm not cut out for this. The problem is that it started out when they were amateurs, all right? If you're an amateur and you're not good enough to become pro, that's life. Do something else in the industry. Coach people. You don't have to be an IFBB Pro to coach somebody. All right. There are many, many coaches that haven't turned pro. Many good coaches that haven't turned pro. All right. They study about fitness, about diets, about everything. You don't have to be a pro to be a good coach. This thing, it's incredible. And don't think that just because you're an IFBB Pro professional with the NPC that it's going to do something different in your life. All right, you achieved the dream, but achieving a dream with 12 competitors and 7 pro cards is not a dream. That's it for now. I mean, I have nothing else to add to this. I mean, I can keep going on forever with these subjects, forever. Finally, things are starting to, come out. I used to write about many things when I owned the website, many things, and I still have to talk about them again. All right. I have nothing against the athletes. Nothing. It's the way the federation, or if you call the NPC a federation because it's privately owned, all right, by the Mannion family. Okay. I don't see nobody voting for presidents in that business. The IFBB in Europe, there's always, I don't know, every 2 or 3 years, there's voting for a new president, executives, everything's democratic, everything's voted for. But, giving these athletes fake dreams, false dreams, just because you hand out a pro card is ridiculous. Step on a pro stage, prove that you're a pro. All right. I myself admit, okay, Rubiel Mascara, that was with the other federation, all right, with the Elite Pro back then. He wasn't doing well there. He won a couple of shows, but when he came against the higher level guys, he wasn't, winning. He moved over to the NPC. He got his pro card, obviously, because he's a freak. And then when he went into the pro shows, he was placing, but he was underachieving. In his last pro show, the one that he won, he impressed me, condition. He still has, he has to grow more. I mean, Chris Cormier was comparing him to Ronnie Coleman, but come on, the guy has, it's a totally different physique. It's going to be exciting to see him at the Olympia, he's going to be a fan favorite for sure. And I wish him the best, I mean, it's nothing wrong with criticizing. I have my opinion, but I'm never going to put down the athlete. All right. But again, Robel winning a pro card is one thing, and just some kid, competing in a weak lineup and winning a pro card is, it's not fair. It's not fair. In the long run, it's not fair. At that moment, everybody's happy. The family's, he reached his dream and things like that. Come on. It's not that easy. Bodybuilding is a very difficult sport. All right. When you compete with the elite, with the best in the world, it's not easy. The things they go through to step on that stage, all right? That pro card's worth nothing until you use it. So, that's my rant for today. Please don't forget to support this channel. We have more interviews coming up, great coverage. And I have a lot of, plans and ideas with my good friend Eric Broser. And, this is a rant that I want to do alone. We'll touch on it on our next episode next Wednesday. But, certain things I just have to, do it on my own, not to take up the whole show, with me ranting about something. But I'm really happy that Dennis James brought it up. It's not something that I brought up, So it's very interesting, to see what happens from this discussion. Maybe they'll bring it up on Olympia TV as well. Who knows? But it is correct what Dennis is saying. Nobody can deny this. All right. So that's it for now. See you later.